game for the New York Mets, who tonight take on the Pittsburgh Pirates. The club now has its fate in its hands. If the Mets win the final 2 games of the regular season, at worst, there'll be a playoff game on Monday for a wild card berth. They'll be in a playoff game on Monday to determine a postseason berth. No, it ain't over. It's just beginning. First pitch is next.
Very tough pitcher. He knows how to pitch, and the Mets have to get the bats going. They have not really broken out but one time in the last week.
That, of course, was in the game against the Atlanta Braves when they had the 7-run 4th inning, highlighted by John Olerud's grand slam. And Ray's got some catching up to do, and I don't think he's going to make it. But that is hardly important. It is humorous. McGuire and Sosa, in fact, going head-to-head this final weekend of the regular season, as are the Mets with wild card dreams. And the umpires tonight brought to you by ClickandSettle.com. Settle your legal disputes online before your expenses get out of line. Jeff Nelson will call the balls and strikes with the veteran Bruce Fleming, the crew chief, at first, Andy Fletcher at second, and Mark Hirschbeck, the umpire, at third. So the Mets take the field, knowing full well that a win tonight would tie them with Cincinnati. And in large part, the Houston win over the Dodgers this afternoon becomes irrelevant to the Mets. The Mets simply needed one of those 2 teams, the Astros or the Reds, to lose today before taking the field tonight to know that they were back in charge, at least as far as controlling their own destiny is concerned. The Mets have that. They'll have to go against the Pittsburgh Pirates of Gene Lamont. This is his lineup for tonight's game. Al Martin will lead off at left field. Abraham Nunez, the shortstop, with Brant Brown in right. Kevin Young, the first baseman. Warren Morris struck out 3 times last night against Kenny Rogers, is at second base. Aramis Ramirez, the third baseman. The rookie Chad Hermanson in center. Local native Keith Osick behind the plate. He's from Port Jefferson. And Francisco Cordova on the mound. And doing the pitching for the New York Mets, it'll be Rick Reed. His original team was the Pittsburgh Pirates. He beat the Mets for Pittsburgh in his very first Major League start. This one's just a little bit bigger, though, as far as the standings go, Ralph.
And Rick Reed has pitched well since coming off the DL. Overall, he's 10-5 with an earned run average of 4.87, lifetime 2-1 against the Pirates. His original team, he bounced around and around and now has bounced back into being a very good pitcher.
And because of that trip to the disabled list, because of the strained tendon in the middle finger, he has not won a game since August the 2nd. Next time out against the Dodgers was when that finger acted up, and he only lasted an inning and 2/3. So this will be his 5th start since coming off the DL. And Ralph, here's the defense he'll have working behind him tonight.
And the same defense that the Mets have used well. Henderson in left field, Hamilton in center field, Cedeno in right, Ventura, Ordonez, Alfonso, and Olerud in the infield. 3 of them have Gold Gloves wrapped up, and Piazza doing the catching.
So Darrell Hamilton, who not only has played flawless center field, but continues to hit well as a Met, taking over that everyday center field job, certainly against right-hand pitching anyway, ever since the trade at the end of July.
He has not made an error all year long, 302 chances. It'll be the 2nd year that he could go an errorless season. But the Mets infield, the dominant factor of the season, the third baseman, the shortstop, and the second baseman all lead the league in fielding. It never has been done in the National League when 3 infielders will have a chance to lead the league in fielding.
And the highlight there, Ray Ordonez and his errorless streak. Ray now has played 97 games without making an error. And that is the consecutive games record for a shortstop. So Al Martin in to lead off for the Pittsburgh Pirates. 24 home runs, 63 runs batted in. Pirates, a team that is not presenting its best lineup, but not because Gene Lamont is experimenting or not taking this pennant race seriously. They've got all kinds of injury problems. Reed throws a fastball on the outside corner. You know about the catcher Jason Kendall. Suffered a severe ankle break back on the 4th of July. Not only Kendall, but also Ed Sprague and Brian Giles out with injuries. Martin pulls one down to Olerud. Easy play, 1 man away. So one quick out here in the first inning, and Abraham Nunez will hit. How much you believe, Ralph, in this theory about one win or even one big inning as the Mets had in the Atlanta game, the middle game of the series, tending to carry over from the standpoint of relaxation?
I really don't put my faith in that. I think it's really just being able to continue to go at them with the same intensity and hope you get the breaks.
Fouled away by Nunez, but in the games you haven't done one, you've watched, you've been able to sense anything about the demeanor, the characteristics of players which might suggest whether they had been a little bit uptight or whether or not they've maintained a pretty even disposition?
I think they're all uptight. If they aren't, there's something wrong with the team, because it's really pressure and you got to handle that. And the ones that can handle it well, like veterans that have been around, Ventura, also the catcher Piazza and Olerud, they probably can handle it a shade better. But the pressure's there, and it certainly has been in the history of baseball.
Reed ahead, 0-2. And Nunez pops it foul back behind the plate.
One of the reasons why pitching is so important is when you get down to the latter part of the season, when pitching means so much and the other team has to be held down, even though you don't hit well. And that's one reason why the Atlanta Braves have done so well over this decade.
They're standing early tonight, and the 0-2 to Nunez. And the breaking ball, 1-2. How about body language? You a big believer in reading body language that might suggest whether or not a player is too tightly wound?
Well, I guess you can tell when a player is too tight when he starts crying over things. But basically, no.
So all this amateur psychology that people practice is out of whack.
It's all bred in there, and it makes good stories, but I don't think it has much to do with anything.
1-2 to Nunez. Pop foul again. I mean, everybody, you know, whether you're fans at the ballpark who watch players and make instant judgments, those of us in the media, the print and the electronic side, who have access to the players in the clubhouse and on the field, everybody seems to have an opinion. Everybody seems to say, almost as a collective, oh, they're uptight, or they're relaxed, or they're this, or they're that. But sometimes I think we go a little too far playing amateur psychologist. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
One of the things that you have to do when you're fighting down a line like this is really just keep your composure and keep your approach and just try to do the things that got you there. And if you do them on a consistent basis, you're in pretty good shape.
The 2-2 to Nunez. Fly ball right center field. Nice catch by Cedeno, and then it pops out of the glove. The ball in play, and Nunez is standing at second. Cedeno got there, but couldn't hold on, and the Pirates have a runner in scoring position.
When he hit the ground, he lost possession of the ball as he gets it in the glove. And now when he hits the ground, it jars it out of the glove. And, of course, these are the things that really happen that hurt you a lot. Would have been a great catch, but it wasn't made. The ball was not hit hard. It was placed in a good spot, but that is not done by plan.
See, if this were football, there'd be 2 out and nobody on, because the ground can't cause a fumble in the NFL. But it can in Major League Baseball, and that means the Pirates have a runner at second. Although Abraham Nunez just does get back. So the daylight play, and Nunez just did make it. Brant Brown, the batter, he's got 16 home runs this year, not hitting for average. Hit a long home run against the Mets here at Shea Stadium earlier in the summer. Nunez takes his lead, 0-1 to Brown.
And he's had a very good September. He's had 2 home runs, and he's hit .357 in this month, or in last month, really.
But over the last week, he has struggled, and this is a guy you can strike out. He has struck out 112 times in 336 official at-bats. Good breaking ball, 0-2.
Good curveball right here, and it breaks right in at the knees. Good pitch, and that's what you need when you're battling down the line. Those good pitches at the right time, and hopefully you get the good calls.
And the 0-2. In there for a call, strike 3. Slipped the fastball by him. Big strikeout for Reed. 2 men away.
Well, the curveball set up the fastball, and you have to mix up your pitches. And after that good curveball, he was protecting against that, and the fastball taken right down the middle.
That's a curveball. Look at a heater. And so Kevin Young, Pirates RBI leader, takes a fastball on the outside corner. Young, 26 home runs. 9 of his 105 RBIs have come this week. He doesn't have a whole lot of help these days in the Pittsburgh batting order. Not with Kendall, Giles, and Sprague out of action. 1 ball, 1 strike to Young. And he leads the team in strikeouts too on our British Airways dubious leaderboard. Young and Martin play virtually every day. Brant Brown does not. That's a step the other way in the outfield. 1 ball, 2 strikes now to Young.
Young was released by Pittsburgh back in 1996 and then was re-signed. And he's had a great year this year. 5 home runs in the month of September.
Reed ahead, a ball and 2 strikes. Nunez at second with 2 men away. Just a bit high. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The pitch that Reed worried about the most when he hurt his finger was the curveball. And he's had a pretty good curveball most of the starts that he's made since coming off the DL. It'll be a 2-2 to Young. And the breaking ball misses there. It's a full count.
Kevin Brown has hit the Mets better than any player in the National League. He's hit .433 against the Mets, but should say Kevin Young with 13 hits and 2 home runs. He's hitting .433 lifetime against the Mets.
With a left-hand hitter on deck, Ralph, would you expect Reed to go back to that curveball here, 3-2 and first base open?
He's got to do that. He's got to make a tough pitch here, even if he keeps it out of the strike zone and walks it.
Here's the payoff pitch. Fastball, and he got him. How about that? Rick Reed challenged him with a heater, and Young swings through it. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Rick Reed, and the Pirates are gone. Pittsburgh nothing, and here come the Mets. To be followed by Piazza, Ventura, and Hamilton. And then Cedeno, Ordonez, and Rick Reed rounded out. And they'll have to do it against a guy who's got a pretty good variety of tricks on the mound. Right-hand pitcher Francisco Cordova from Mexico.
He did a lot of pitching in Mexico City. His dad was an outstanding pitcher in the Mexican League. And if you pitch well in Mexico City, it's even higher in altitude than Denver is. You're doing a good job.
Ricky struggling at the plate the last week. Just 4 hits in his last 18 at-bats. Pirates play him straight up all around, and the 1-0 is pulled foul. We're at the point now where, as far as the Mets are concerned, of course, for Cordova, it doesn't matter. The Pirates are going nowhere but home after tomorrow. But as far as the Mets go, the bullpen is stacked now. It's really, certainly it'll be that way tomorrow, but even tonight, I think, Rick Reed and staff pulled right into the glove of Ramirez. 1 away. Laurel Hershiser was warming up and ready to pitch if there had been a 12th inning last night, Ralph.
Well, the breaks have got to go your way, and right here you can't hit the ball any harder than this, and caught by Ramirez at third base. Well hit ball and turned into a solid out. Ramirez is known for the fact that he does not field well. Came up to the major leagues at the age of 20.
Edgardo Alfonso takes inside for ball 1. In fact, really none of the first 5 hitters in the Mets lineup have anything going on a consistent basis as of the last little while. We certainly have talked about that as it pertains to runners in scoring position. But Ricky 4 for 18, Alfonso's 3 for 17, and Olerud, Piazza, and Ventura have struggled similarly, although Ventura and Piazza each homered last night, and Ventura had the game-winning single. Breaking ball to Fonzie, 1-2.
Piazza is really the only batter of the power hitters the Mets have that has done fairly well in September. Piazza has had 6 home runs.
Cordova deals 1-2, and the fastball almost hit him. Boy, Cordova's going to come at you with so many different arm angles and so many different pitches. You know when to stand in and when to bail.
Well, he's basically a curveball pitcher, and this time a fastball, and you'd have to think that was done on purpose to drive Alfonso away from the plate, and now he should come back with a breaking ball.
And the 2-2, he does throw him a pitch away, slider, and it counts full.
Alfonso in September hitting .207 with 3 home runs. He's 2 for 16 against Cordova.
Mets have handled the Pirates very well at Shea over a long stretch. 16 out of the last 20 here have been won by the Mets. And again, the Pirates, if they were playing for anything this weekend, we talked about it last night, were playing for a chance to finish with a winning record for the first time since 1992. But Gene Lamont's team needed to sweep the 3 games here in order to finish a game over 500. Pirates will only play 161 games. They had a game with the Cardinals rained out earlier. Payoff pitch to Alfonso is in there for a call, strike 3.
Well, he came back and got the strikeout with a breaking ball. So 2 men out and behind. Cordova, Al Martin in left field, Chad Hermanson in center field, Brent Brown in right field, Ramirez at third base, Nunez at short, Morris at second base, and Young at first with Osick catching.
Last year, Brent Brown was a Chicago Cub. Remember the error that he made on a ball hit by Jeff Jenkins of the Milwaukee Brewers? Everybody thought that was going to kill the Cubs as far as their wild card chances were concerned. They wound up winning a 1-game playoff with the Giants for the wild card. The point being, we've heard so much talk over the last couple of days, Ralph, in absolute tones. You know, after the game against Atlanta on Thursday night, the Mets were done, finished, over. You know that neither of the Reds or the Astros would lose 2 out of 3. All those absolute statements have come back to bite the people who made them.
And that's why the game of baseball is so unpredictable, because no one knows what's going to happen.
Brent Brown found that out firsthand last year with the Cubs. Olerud shoots one to the shortstop Nunez, and the side retired. So Francisco Cordova retires the Mets 1-2-3 ball, no strikes to Warren Morris, one of the leading contenders for Rookie of the Year in the National League. And you see those 73 RBIs? They are the most by a Pirate rookie since Mr. Kiner drove in 81 back in 1946. I don't know that I see a lot of similarities, though, there, Ralph.
Well, I bet it's right-handed.
That's it. But Morris having an impressive year as he fouls the pitch back.
He's a good year in the field, too. He's second in starting double plays to Biggio of the Houston Astros. He's involved in 102 double plays and has done a good job in the field.
Popped up. Ventura and Piazza in foul territory, and Ventura takes charge. 1 out of the second.
Number 16.
That'll bring up Aramis Ramirez.
Ramirez got off to a terrible start when he came into the major leagues. He went 0 for 25 before he got a base hit. He went back to the minor leagues, now back up again. They like everything he does, but he's got to learn a little bit.
Yeah, that triple came last year, his first major league hit against the Mets with the bases loaded. Beat the Mets a ball game at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh. Popped up foul. John Olerud, easy play. Quickly, 2 men away. Couple of foul pop-ups. This one to Olerud after one to Ventura. It'll bring up rookie center fielder Chad Hermanson. it certainly will be a topic of interest to the New York Mets, everybody, including their fans, over the first little while after the season, because John's going to be a free agent, at least potentially, as Hermanson takes a fastball for a strike. I say potentially because that doesn't necessarily mean a player is going to file for free agency and try to take advantage. You could come to an agreement before then, just as the Mets did with Mike Piazza and Al Leiter last year. 1 ball, 1 strike. Hermanson, the 10th pick overall in the nation by the Pirates 4 years ago. That's a strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Hermanson. Start for Rick Reed. Gets the Pirates in order in the second. He now has 3 strikeouts. And in the middle of the second, here at Shea, no score. A lot of late action outside Shea Stadium this afternoon. A lot of people decided the Astros and Reds losing and the Mets winning last night. And then the Reds losing their game in Milwaukee this afternoon. Mike Piazza, still a chance, by the way, over these next 2 games to tie or even surpass Todd Hundley for 2 things. A, the Mets club record for home runs in a season, and B, the record for homers in a season by a catcher. That record 41. Piazza has 39, including 1 that he hit last night.
He has hit 300 or over for 6 consecutive years with 20 or more home runs. Only 2 players from the rookie year through 6 years have done better. Joe DiMaggio and Ted Williams.
That's frightening, isn't it? You're in that kind of company after a half-dozen years. The 0-1 off the outside corner, a ball and a strike. But again, the Mets and Piazza both know that Mike's bat doesn't always have to produce home runs to deliver. There sure have been some base hits that he hasn't been able to get over this 2-week period or 10-day period. It could have helped things out a little bit, but Mike's been able to keep not only his own spirits up, but his fan club, Mini Mike, in attendance.
Pretty good sideburns, huh?
And the 1-2 lifted in the air, right field. Grant Brown over. 1 away. So Cordova's got the first 4 minutes, 1 out of the second. And will bring up Robin Ventura. Two huge hits for Ventura last night. The home run to put the Mets ahead and the base hit which won the game. Ralph, you're a believer it takes the home run to get you out of the slump, huh? Not a string of singles.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. It does a lot for your confidence when you hit the ball out of the ballpark. It sets you up for your next at-bats. Especially if you haven't had one for a while. And, of course, he got the game-winning base hit last night after he hit the home run. He gave the Mets a 1-0 lead.
2-0 to Ventura. Robin really was not happy at all that news of his sore knee leaked out. Became a topic of discussion the last couple of days. Low, ball 3. It's been bothering him for about a month since the Mets were in Houston, but he didn't want anybody to know about it. However, it leaked out.
I don't think it really leaked out. They have so many scouts around. You can tell when he swings that that knee is really a problem.
Really? 3-0 taken for a strike. What would you notice about his swing that would be a tip-off?
Well, it collapses on him and he has to go down. And there's got to be a lot of pain there, and it's got to be tough for him to play.
Fly ball towards the gap in left center. Hermanson over, can't get it. Martin cuts in front of him to play the hop, and Ventura has a 1-out single. So Ventura continues his renaissance. The Mets have a 1-out base runner and Darrell Hamilton coming up.
Well, this ball not hit well, but it certainly was well placed, and it drops in front for a base hit. got to make that contact and hope that it drops in, and it certainly did here.
So Robin, a base runner, and Darrell Hamilton, one of the few Mets who's even over the last 2 or 3 games had a hot bat. 6 out of 12. In fact, he had 2 hits in that 7-run 4th inning against Atlanta. You notice for a guy who's been around the ball club just 2 months, he's become one of their spokesmen. A lot of people looking for quotes seem to go to Hamilton now after games, and he has talked about the fact that it has not been difficult for him at all to assume some leadership role on this club, even though he's only been here for 2 months.
He makes some good statements and certainly knows a lot about what's going on. He's grateful to be a contender. He's hit 400 at Shea. And who else is he going to talk to? Olerud? He won't say a word. He and Piazza, Hamilton and Piazza, are really the two that have said a lot of interesting things and all positive things, really.
Of course, the challenge for Hamilton was a little different coming over in mid-season, especially to a club with a lot of veterans, but he didn't sit back. Decided he was going to take an active role. 2 balls, 1 strike on Hamilton. Let's see if Bobby Valentine thinks about a hit and run here. Obviously, Ventura is not going to try to steal a base with his leg problems, even before aggravating the knee in September. He did not have any speed. See if Bobby tries to stay out of a double play, make something happen. Ventura not moving, and the pitch taken inside. 3-1. Roger Cedeno on deck. No score. We're in the 2nd. Ventura short lead from first. And Cordova also thinking that the hit and run could be on, throws over.
When you have a home run hitter up there, and Hamilton is not a home run type hitter, you seldom put the runner in motion on a 3-1 count. You want the hitter to get the advantage of picking his pitch.
Not running, line drive, foul. So Hamilton just a bit out in front, and now the count full. Now do you run him to stay out of a double play on 3-2?
I think here you have to run him right now because you've got to force this ball game. Cordova's a good pitcher. He combined on a no-hitter a couple of years ago, won 9 innings with no hits. Rincon finished the game off a 10-inning win for the Pirates. So he is not easy. You got to force the game.
Now Ventura's running, and Hamilton fouls it off his foot. So Ventura will come back, still 3-2. One thing Hamilton does not do much of is hit into double plays, contrary to a couple of his teammates in particular, like Piazza and John Olerud. The Mets lead the National League. Not in the category you want to be on top, but they've hit into more double plays than any team in the league.
Well, 2 things about a double play. One, you have to have runners on. And the Mets had a lot of rules on base, and also you got to hit the ball fairly hard.
Ventura goes, ball 4, and the Mets have runners at first and second with 1 man out. First walk issued by Cordova. And that'll bring up Roger Cedeno.
Roger Cedeno.
That bench, which is so calm and relaxed right now, erupted last night after the base hit by Ventura. Probably the only bigger celebration I can remember this year, and it might not have been bigger, was after that dramatic win over the Yankees here at Shea Stadium in July. So Cedeno the batter, Ventura at second, Hamilton at first. Low, ball 1.
Cedeno in September is hit .348 with a home run. He's got a chance to be the 3rd switch hitter for the Mets in their history to bat .300.
Low, 2-0, and the plate's starting to jump around on Francisco Cordova.
Lenny Randall hit 300. He actually hit 304 back in 1977, and Lee Mazzilli in 1979 hit 303. And Vukovic is out to talk to his pitcher.
Vukovic had his signature season with the Milwaukee Brewers when they went to the World Series in 1982 against the team in which he'd come, the St. Louis Cardinals. Grew up in the Pittsburgh area, Vukovic did. And that kid that you see stenciled on the cap of Cordova and the rest of the Pirates is in tribute to their injured catcher, Jason Kendall. That's Kendall's nickname, Kid, just as it was Gary Carter's nickname. One of the years Gary caught in the National League with the Expos, and of course the Mets for those 5 years, including the World Championship season of 1986.
Kendall hitting 332 before the leg problem that was so severe. He had 8 home runs. He was an outstanding catcher.
And the 2-0. Low ball 3. Cordova a pitch away from loading the bases. Let's have the 8 and 9 hitters following Cedeno. Ray Ordonez, who has swung an efficient bat lately, and then Rick Reed, who's not a bad hitting pitcher. So the Mets making a bid to jump on top here. Ventura's in scoring position. Hamilton's at first. And the 3-0 is Cedeno. Low ball 4. They'll load it up. Well, Ordonez's been pretty effective lately with the bat. Now, you're not looking for him to hit the ball out of the yard here, although he did that recently with the bases loaded. Well, the Rays had 6 hits in his last 16 times at bat. He has a career high 60 runs batted in, and they're loaded up for him here. And the fans are not going to take this sitting down. The outside corner, a breaking ball, 0-1 to Ray.
Ray has hit 4 home runs in his major league career.
He's probably not eligible now, Ralph. It's October. All 4 of his homers have come in the last 4 Septembers, 1 apiece.
He has 59 runs batted in, batting in the lower part of the batting order, the bottom third. And that's second to Valkyrie of the Dodgers for players batting in the 7th, 8th, or 9th positions.
1 ball, 1 strike. So the bases loaded with Mets here. Robin Ventura at third, Darrell Hamilton at second, and Roger Cedeno at first. Cedeno by far the fastest of the 3. Remember Ventura's bad wheel on any kind of fly ball to the outfield with a pitcher up next. See if Cookie Rojas would send him on something medium range or so. The 1-1. Fastball misses. 2-1 to Ordonez. Great spot here for Ordonez with Cordova behind 2-1. The bases loaded, 1 out. No score in the second. Pop foul behind the plate. It'll go out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, his only grand slam in his career, his 4th home run in his career, and it's out of the ballpark, and he knows it.
How could he know it?
When you hit him that well, I guess you always know it, whether you've hit one before or not. That was in the past, and now the Mets in the present.
So 2-2 to Ordonez. Cordova's walked the last 2. The bases are loaded. Swing and a miss. He got it. Strikeout number 2 for Cordova. 2 men away. It'll bring up pitcher Rick Reed.
pitcher, number 35, Rick Reed.
Well, a big strikeout for Cordova. But Reed's not a pushover. He's had 10 base hits this year. .238 batting average, very respectable for a pitcher.
He's hit 2 home runs in his major league career.
Pirates playing well over the other way in the outfield. And Cordova, this is with a slider, 1-0. Twice last night, the Mets left the bases loaded before Robin Ventura's bases loaded single won the game in the 11th inning. Here they've got Reed up with 3 on and 2 out. One ball, 1 strike.
The one thing that really hurt the Mets was that Ordonez not putting the ball in play. Hit that ball, you got a chance to score a run, even on 1 out.
Bouncing ball that backs up Ramirez. He throws out Reed, and Francisco Cordova gets out of a bases loaded 1 out jam. He walked himself into it, allowing just 1 hit and a couple of walks, so we're scoring. We go to the 3rd, no score on the penultimate night of the baseball season for the New York Mets, at least as far as the regular season goes. Rick Reed has allowed just 1 hit through the first 2 innings. A 1-out double to Abraham Nunez in the first that Roger Cedeno actually had, but then lost when he hit the ground after diving for the fly ball. So he'll face 8, 9, and 1 here in the Pirates batting order. Keith Osick, Francisco Cordova, and Al Martin. This copyrighted telecast is authorized under television rights granted by the New York Mets solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or the use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Mets is prohibited. Keith Osick fouls the first pitch straight back, 0-1.
As you mentioned now, he's from Port Jefferson, New York, and his debut was here against the Mets on April 5th, 1996. He left 30 passes, and one of them was for a cousin he didn't know he had.
Inside, 1-1. But that stuff happens when you get married. You start seeing relatives you never knew existed.
When you hit the lottery.
I think you got that right, I would guess.
Never hit them.
Not even close. I saw those numbers on Osick, 0 for 12. The Pirate catchers as a group have not hit at all since Kendall went down with that injury on the 4th of July. They've hit just a $185. That's over 3 months now. With 2 homers and 21 RBIs. They've got nothing out of their catchers offensively. 2-2 to Osick. They built a pretty interesting ball club in Pittsburgh, considering that they've always had to be so payroll conscious. Breaking ball gets him, 1 away. They put those 3 hitters we've talked about. Kendall, Childs, and Sprague in the lineup. Good young pitchers here. You've got a pretty talented team.
And here another good curveball that breaks into the strike zone. Strikeout number 4. The other 3 strikeouts came on fastballs after the curveball set up the fastball.
Francisco Cordova, 8 hits and 47 at-bats this year. No balls, 1 strike to the Pirate pitcher. 2 years from now, they'll be playing in a new ballpark, which I guess is going to have some characteristics which are similar to Forbes Field. I'm not sure about the dimensions, whether they'll have ivy on that outfield wall, but we know it'll have real grass, and that's a start.
They don't have enough room to build the park as big as that Forbes Field was. 457 feet in center field. 360 down the line.
So you mean with all those home runs you hit, you actually lost a few because of the dimensions, huh?
Boy, it was a big park. was so big they put the batting cage on the playing field in center field.
Cordova down on strikes, 2 outs, 5 strikeouts now for Rick Reed. Feel bad for the grounds crew, though. They had to wheel that thing all the way in every day for BP and wheel it back out, huh?
Every day, in and out.
Well, Rick Reed has picked up the last 7 Pirates here, the last 3 by strikeout. And now it's back to the top of the Pittsburgh order, and Al Martin, the left fielder. Martin pulled a ground ball down to Olerud at first base to start the game off.
Today is the anniversary of the only triple header ever played in this century. It was played between the Pirates and the Reds won the first 2 games on the last day of the season. The Pirates won the 3rd game, and it was called after 6 innings because of darkness. Of course, they didn't have lights. That was back in 1920. Only triple header ever played.
0-2. Wonder how long it took him to play each game.
Probably not that long.
Things were a lot different then.
Ball games would be, I'll say maybe an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. Fastest game ever played was 51 minutes.
51 minutes. 0-2 to Martin, and he's down on strikes. So Rick Reed making some quick work of the Pittsburgh Pirates, 10-6. And although the Astros won their game, beating the Dodgers 3-0 behind Jose Lima and Billy Wagner, that's good news for the Mets because of the Cincinnati end of it. The Mets now, if they can win this game, would tie Cincinnati for the wild card, meaning if the Mets now control their situation, meaning if they win today and win tomorrow, that guarantees them of no worse than a playoff game on Monday. 2-2 to Ricky.
And that playoff game will be in Cincinnati if it comes about.
So the Mets even for the time being in the loss column with the Reds. That's pending the outcome of this one. Henderson pulls it to the shortstop Nunez. 1 away.
Cincinnati 1 game up behind on Houston, with Houston winning today, 96-1 for Houston. And the Mets trading 1/2 game and a chance to time up here tonight.
So I guess when you do all the permutations, the Mets now cannot get into a 1-game playoff with Houston because of the potential for a 3-way tie that would automatically put the Mets in the playoffs, and that would have been the scenario under which the Mets would have played here at Shea on Monday. There can be a 3-way tie, or they can tie Cincinnati for the wild card, and that game, that 1-game playoff, would be held at Synergy Field on Monday. 1-0 to Alfonso. On the outside corner. And Cordova showing you a lot of arm angles. Come over the top, sidearm, 3/4. Basically fastball slider. And the 1-1. Ball 2 strikes now. Another slider.
Ordonez struck out on a 3-2 breaking ball his first time up.
Although you don't believe all sliders are made equal, huh?
No.
A lot of these sliders you would characterize as curveballs?
Curveball, yes. That's characterized as a fastball that was trying to drive the batter away from the plate.
Same thing he did to him his last time up.
So right here, the fastball in tight. Last time he went outside with a curve after the fastball.
And the 2-2 pitch. Away again. Now you call that a curve or a slider?
That's a curveball. Technically, a slider slides about 3 inches. Anything that breaks more than that is a breaking ball, or a slurve. You could probably call it a slurve. A combination of a slider with more spin that makes it a curveball.
And the
Slow curve.
payoff pitch lined into right field for a base hit. So the Mets get their second hit, a 1-out single by Alfonso, and it'll bring up John Olerud.
fastball that was out over the plate. A good job of hitting by Alfonso. Lines it to right field. Olerud rounded out his first time up. He's 2 for 9 against Cordova with a home run.
It's trying to break through here in the third. They left the bases loaded in the second. Ordonez struck out and Reed grounded out. Now it's 1-0 to Olerud. Cordova's done a lot of pitching from behind the last couple of innings. He walked Hamilton and Cedeno after Ventura's single in the second to load him up. And the Mets could not take advantage of the opportunity. Of course, Olerud among the walks leaders in the National League. Alfonso running, a one-hopper to Morris, who throws out Olerud. Alfonso now in scoring position, 2 men away. And Piazza coming up.
It's amazing to me that the second baseman was not covering on the hit-and-run play at second base because Olerud hits the ball to the opposite field as well as anybody in the league. But they had the second baseman hold his position and the shortstop covered. So they guessed right here. Otherwise, that would have been a base hit with a second baseman covering at second base.
Way off the bat, it almost looked as though Morris might have had a chance to grab that one before it hit the ground and easily double up Alfonso. But now it's Piazza, runner in scoring position, 2 out. Breaking ball, 0-1. Well, the home runs are what excite people. And he's got 39 of them, but a base hit would do just fine for the Mets here. It's what they've lacked so often with runners in scoring position over the last 10 days. But one here would put the Mets in front in all likelihood. Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Alfonso not much speed at all at second base. And so does Brant Brown. So the Mets are out in the third. No runs, a hit, 1 left. 3 in the books at Shea. Fran Hilly will take you through the next 3. No score.
6 strikeouts tonight for Rick Reed, tying his season high. And Abraham Nunez steps in to lead it off for the Buccos as we go to the top of the 4th inning. No score. Pittsburgh and New York. Nice breaking ball. Reed's had a nice breaking ball tonight. Nunez, by the way, doubled his first time up, doubled to right field. And the 0-2 pitch is down low. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now the Mets have had a couple of opportunities to score in this ball game. They stranded 3 in the second inning. Mets have 2 hits. Pirates with 1. And the 1-2 pitch. Up and in. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Nunez with his base hit. A diving try by Cedeno in right center field. He got the ball in the glove, but when he hit the ground, it was knocked out of the glove and scored a 2-base hit.
Fouled off. So 2 balls and 2 strikes on Abraham Nunez. Tomorrow afternoon, these same 2 teams go at it again. If you just tuned in and you haven't heard any scores today, Cincinnati lost their game this afternoon. They get beat by Milwaukee 10-6. Houston won their ball game 3-0 over the Dodgers.
You know, home run by Biggio in that game to put him up 1-0, and they added 2 more.
He's been relatively cold offensively. Talking about Craig Biggio, the fine second baseman with the Astros. Here's a 2-2 pitch, and the curveball misses up high. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Talking about curveballs, last night Kenny Rogers pitched a masterpiece throwing that big curveball. And a 3-2 pitch. Line drive left field. Bounces in front of Ricky Henderson. A base hit for Abraham Munoz leading off here in the 4th inning. Now let's take a look at our Aflac trivia question.
Which was the last team to have players lead their league in fielding at second, third, and short in 1 year? And if you're thinking about the National League, forget it. No one's ever done that. And the Mets have 3 chances at second, third, and short this year.
Brant Brown, the batter, struck out his first time up, and Brown takes a strike. Brant Brown is batting .433 with 2 home runs and 6 RBIs in his career against the Mets.
Better than any other batter with 20 at-bats against the Mets.
0-1 on Brown. Brown playing right field tonight for the Buccos, and he fouls the ball off into the crowd. No balls and 2 strikes.
Brown got off to a tremendous start in the major leagues.
He was a big prospect. Of course, what hurt him with the Pirates, with the Cubs, you and Howie were talking about it earlier. Drop ball, big game. As he takes outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
It was a routine fly ball that he dropped, and it was really a big error.
The in-game box score. Pirates with 2 hits. Both of those hits off the bat of Abraham Munoz. There goes Munoz, and there's a fly ball to left field. Henderson has a beat on it and makes the grab. Munoz going back to first base. 1 down.
And a hit and run play, and Ricky out there to make the play with the catch.
Well, he fought that, didn't he?
He really did. That wasn't easy for him.
Talking about the movement of the ball, the angle. And they check Munoz again at first base. He gets back. The way Ricky was motioning with his hand, it was almost like the ball was moving when it was coming down.
When you're running on your heels, I don't think he was, but boy, that's one real. That ball jumps around. You got to get on your toes.
We were talking last night for a guy like Ricky Henderson, who was going to go to the Hall of Fame because of his legs. His legs have gotten him in more trouble because of not busting it, not only with the Mets, but with other ball teams. Check the runner again at first base. Munoz back. Kevin Young, the batter, the most accomplished hitter the Pirates have, batting .298, 26 home runs, 105 RBIs. He takes a strike. For some reason, Ralph, Kevin Young reminds me of a first baseman who played with the Pirates and also played with the Mets, Don Clendenin.
Don, of course, was an outstanding player for the Pirates, and for the Mets in 1969, he was a man who was the MVP of the World Series.
And the 0-1 pitch is up high to Young. 1-1. 1 man out. We're in top of the 4th inning in a huge game. Another huge game for the Mets. Told you about the Reds getting beat today. Houston winning their ball game. Munoz with the lead at first base. There he goes. The 1-1 pitch. Ground ball is short. Ordonez was tricked by Munoz. He had a little bit of trouble with that ball. I think he was faked out. Munoz started and stopped. Ordonez going down for the ball, had a little bit of trouble with the ball, so his concentration was on the ball, and then he threw the first. I think he had a shot at Munoz at second.
Well, the ball takes a bad hop, and he has to come up and field the ball, and didn't think he had to play at second base, so he takes the sure out.
So 2-men are out.
Wow.
Just didn't have it. You know, that ball seemed to hit in an area of the glove where he was uncomfortable, and that was the webbing.
When you reach in there and the ball's not in the pocket of the glove, it is a little tough to find the handle. So he got the 1 out. I don't know if he had a chance, but you're right. Nunez was faking that running. It made a big break and then stopped.
So 2 men are out, runner at second base. The batter Warren Morris is in the running for the Rookie of the Year award, and he takes a stride. When you look at what he's done this year, Morris should be the lead guy in the Rookie of the Year voting. Batted .291 so far, 15 dingers for a second baseman, and 73 RBIs, and a very good defensive player. Takes up high from Rick Reed. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Of course, you know, it's funny, Ralph, when you think about the awards, rarely do they take defense into consideration.
He's done a good job with the glove and has had a good year with the bat.
And the 1-1 pitch. Bouncer to third. Ventura across the infield to Olerud. And that'll do it for the Pirates here in the top of the 4th. They strand the runner. He was in scoring position. They fail to score. We played 3.5 here at Shea Stadium, and it's no score. The Bucko Mets. Question.
Which was the last team to have players lead their league in fielding at second, third, and short, and gotta be, I gotta guess Baltimore.
Yeah, I would go with you on that. I think the Baltimore Orioles, when Brooks Robinson, I guess Mark Belanger, and I guess the second baseman would have been Bobby. Oh, it's Louis Aparicio and Jerry Adair.
How about that? Even farther back.
Yeah, they were very good. Those Baltimore Orioles of '64, Jerry Adair, Brooks Robinson, Luis Aparicio, great players. I don't know, Ralph. Of course, a gentleman once told me, as Ventura swings and misses, and it was a great statement. It's tough to compare different eras.
How about John Todd?
John Todd, a former chairman of Cablevision. I think it's a great line. It is tough, although he would probably tell you that Ralph kind of was the best home run hitter ever.
How about Hannes Wagner, the greatest pirate that ever played?
How could you compare him with guys today?
You can't, really. In fact, Hannes told me a story. He was the coach of the Pirates when I played there, and he was a great player, great hitter, great fielder. And they were playing. Of course, they didn't have lights. And he said a ball was hit down to him, and it went through his legs. And he had bull legs, so it really could go through that. And he said it was really dark, and he said, fortunately, a rabbit ran by at the time, and he picked the rabbit up and threw the rabbit to first base. And he said that was the first time a batter was ever out by a hair.
Here's a 2-2 pitch, foul out of play. Now our in-game box score brought to you by New York Life.
But fielding was so different in those old days because the fields were really bad fields. They didn't manicure them like they do today, and a lot of the fields, the grass was all chewed up. It was really a tough thing to field in those days. And the average shortstop would make maybe 25 errors, and that was a good year.
Yeah, and Robin Ventura just struck out 1 man down here in the bottom of the 4th. Look at those infields. Fielding percentage league leaders.
Champion Joe Dugan played third base for the Yankees with Aaron Ward and Everett Scott. Scott was one of those guys that played a long time in games in a row.
It's interesting. We're just talking about trying to compare different eras today. It really is tough, and you gave a great example. With the fields are a lot different today. Fouled off.
How about Napoleon Lajoie? He was one of the great hitters of all time, but he played back in the 1890s and part of the early 1900s.
And as you've always mentioned, and I concur, reluctantly, the players today, the equipment's a lot better.
Oh, yeah, the gloves are so different. The gloves have really changed.
Well, that's why you see so many great plays. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Darrell Hamilton down low. 1 ball and 1 strike.
I heard the story about Lajoie. He was a great hitter. The last 2 games of the season were a doubleheader, and he got 7 hits and 8 at-bats and beat out Ty Cobb. You know what the 7 hits were? But
yeah, they wanted to do Ty Cobb, and that's a great story. Here's a ground ball to second base. Nice play by Morris as the ball comes up 2 down. That story you're talking about, the players disliked Ty Cobb so much they wanted Lajoie, who was, I believe, with the Cleveland Indians, to win the batting crown, so they get in Ty Cobb. Think about that.
7 bunt base hits and a doubleheader.
Where'd they get the MVP award? Went to the, was it the Chambers or Chalmers?
Chalmers. It was a automobile.
Yeah.
Chalmers award was the MVP award, and I think he gave you a car. It was the whole thing, yeah.
How do you compare a guy like Ty Cobb who could run with a guy like Ricky Henderson? I'll bet you Ricky could beat him. Here's with two outs. Roger Cedeno steps in and takes a strike. Would Ty Cobb be able, he has a record for stealing home. 50 times he stole home. Never happened today.
Well, the reason why it wouldn't happen today, the pitcher wouldn't wind up.
That's right.
Work from the stretch.
So intellectually, they're far superior today also. 1-1.
We don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure that one out.
They just went to the stretch and you can't steal home anymore. 1 ball and 1 strike, and the guy who's going to steal a lot more before he's done, Roger Cedeno, who's batting .315, 4 home runs, 36 RBIs. Cedeno walked his first time up. Mets need to be aggressive. Got to score some runs now.
How about Babe Ruth made the last out of a World Series when he tried to steal second base. And he was the last out. The game was over.
You think anybody said something to him?
I don't even think any columnist picked it up.
Wow.
Things have changed quite a bit, huh?
There's strike 3 to Roger Cedeno. So Francisco Cordova matching Rick Reed pitch for pitch. And we've played 4 here at Shea Stadium. No score. The Buccos and the Mets. Now back here at Shea Stadium, we go to the top of the 5th inning. And for the Buccos, Aramis Ramirez, Chad Hermanson, and Keith Osick will be the hitters. Somebody's playing.
Robin had Dahl, huh?
It's been around a long time. It's called longevity. 2 hits for both ball clubs in this game. Rick Reed has been very effective, along with Francisco Cordova. Ramirez popped up his first time up. He's 0 for 1. Takes the breaking ball down low. 81 miles per hour. The curveball. The big thing is the differential in speed on pitches. That makes a pitcher very effective. Here's a 2-0 pitch. Bouncer foul.
Well, the curveball and his fastball about 10 miles an hour. Curveball 10 miles an hour slower. And that is a big difference in hitting.
And Ralph, I'll bet you any amount of money that out of all your home runs, 80% of them, 75% came off fastballs.
No question about it. I would say that for the average hitter, I would say the majority of home runs would be much higher than that. 95% off fastballs.
And it's funny, a pitcher will get a guy with 2 breaking balls and then think, I could sneak that fastball by him. Right there's a fastball, bounce to third, Ventura to Olerud. 1 down.
One of the things about pitchers, they would throw, like you say, 2 curveballs and then try and sink the fastball back. But that's only working when you got a good hitter up there that looks for the curveball. Most hitters don't look for the curveball because they can't hit it.
If a guy is a good breaking ball hitter,
very few are.
He's always looking for the breaking ball, and you can get him with a fastball.
But you got to know that.
Yeah. That's why you have to have a very intelligent catcher. Chad Hermanson just took a strike from Rick Reed. Hermanson batting .255. Well, the Pirates fared to break the hearts of the Mets. And the Mets fighting for their life here against the Buccos. Up high to Hermanson. 1 ball and 1 strike. Met fans holding their breath. A lot of exhaling going on here at Shea Stadium as Bobby Valentine looking at the scorecard or his lineup card. Here's a 1-1 pitch, pulled foul. A great shot of Bobby Valentine last night coming out of that dugout. Not a guy who's very animated, usually controls himself most of the time, but he couldn't control himself last night. And Robin Ventura came through in a big way.
One thing about Bobby Valentine, he has a great desire to win. He really does work.
2 down. Good strikeout by Rick Reed.
Strikeout number 7. 7.
Well, tomorrow after the game, keep it tuned to Fox Sports Net for the show a generation of Mets fans grew up with. Ralph returns to his classic post-game show, Kiner's Corner. Kiner's Corner following our final regular season game tomorrow right here on Fox Sports Net.
Oh, those jackets are really terrible. Must have borrowed them from Lindsey Nelson.
How about a woman who writes for the New York Post coming in tonight? Her favorite show growing up, her name Ursula Reels. She said her favorite show growing up was watching Kiner's Corner. All the players that go on the show now consider it an honor. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball, misses up high. 2-1. Mike Piazza was the first guest on Kiner's Corner this year, and he was flattered.
How about Jeff Mitchell? He was my guy in the early days of Kiner's Corner.
Here's an out right here. Let the sure man have it. That'll do it for the Pirates here in the top of the 5th. 3 up, 3 down. We go to the bottom of the 5th. No score here at Shea, the Buccos and the Mets. Outside Shea Stadium, a lot of activity. A lot of action here inside Shea Stadium. Ray Ordonez will lead it off against Francisco Cordova. Ordonez will be followed by Rick Reed and then Ricky Henderson. No score, the Buccos and the Mets. Mets need hits, and there's a line drive right field base hit. Ordonez leading off here in the bottom of the 5th. He's on first.
Well, a good base hit by Ordonez. With the pitcher coming up, you can use the pitcher to sacrifice there. But Ray had the bases loaded in the 2nd inning with 1 out and struck out.
First time tonight, the Mets get a leadoff man on here. Now Bobby Valentine can make some moves. I'm sure he'll have Rick Reed bunting. Ramirez way in on the grass. Young will be charging from first. Reed fouls it back. 0-1 on Rick Reed. Hey, by the way, Ralph, I don't know if you and Howie mentioned this. A gentleman celebrating his 100th birthday on Saturday night. Right now, I should say woman, Frances Baldwin of Southampton, New York. 100 years old. Congratulations and have a great birthday. 0-1 on Rick Reed.
Born in 1899, huh?
Bunted back to Cordova. He goes to first and get Reed. Runner Ordonez moves to second. So a sacrifice by Reed helping his cause.
Well, the Mets get their 4th runner in scoring position in this game. It's 0-0. The Pirates have had 2 in scoring position. And a good bunt by Reed. Cordova making the play to the second baseman Morris for the out.
So Ricky Henderson will be the batter with Ordonez on second base. Henderson 0 for 2. There's 1 man out. Fans getting into this ball game. A lot of walk-ups today for this ball game. Henderson taking a hanging slider for a strike. 0-1 on Ricky Henderson.
Ricky has played in enough games this year that and had enough at bats that his contract for next year is automatically renewed.
No balls and 1 strike at number 24.
He'll be playing next year at the age of 41. Says he'll play 4 more years.
Well, age creeps up on you, doesn't it? Swung on and missed. 0-2. By the way, the Mets are 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position tonight. Well, Ricky Henderson certainly has the body where he could play another 4 more years. 40 years old is a lot different today than it was when, say, Willie Mays was playing. By the way, Willie Mays was in the ballpark last night.
Keith Hernandez, Willie Mays,
Tug McGraw. 0-2 on Ricky Henderson. This has been a wild year for this pennant race, the wild card and the Eastern Division race and the Central Division race. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Henderson. Outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. We've had a lot of great action on Fox Sports Net. Mike Piazza's thrilled us many times this year with long drives. Edgardo Alfonzo with a great year. Ordonez, spectacular again defensively. But the Mets need a run. No score here in the bottom of the 5th. Henderson fouls it back.
Well, he got a fastball to hit there, and that's the pitch he hits the best. But he was behind the pitch. It was looking breaking ball. And he fouls a fastball back. There's so much anticipation going on with hitters and pitchers. Or a better word might be guessing.
One ball and 2 strikes on Ricky Henderson. Outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Alfonzo on deck. Talking to Alfonzo before the ballgame, he said that recently he's felt sluggish with the bat in his hand. Now he feels a lot better. He didn't realize that he didn't make an error on a ground ball this year. How about that?
That's hard to believe.
2-2 pitch. Fouled back. Cordova jamming Ricky Henderson. Yeah, I found it hard to believe, but maybe he's so relaxed that I'm surprised somebody hasn't told him. Well, I brought it up to him. He looked very surprised.
Well, he hasn't made many errors to start with.
No. 4 errors, is it? 5? 2 balls and 2 strikes on Henderson. A huge at bat for Ricky. He goes down swinging. 2 outs. So he'll leave it up to Edgardo Alfonzo.
Well, he got him with a curveball after he fouled off the 2 fastballs. And the ball breaking out of the strike zone. This game going like the Dodger-Houston game that was won by Houston 3-0. It was 0-0, I believe, till the 6th inning. Biggio had the home run to break the scoreless tie. Bottom of the 6th inning.
Alfonzo takes down low ball 1. As I mentioned, he said he felt sluggish, but now he feels a lot better. He has a single in his ball game, still batting over 300. He drove one over the wall the other night in a crucial at bat against the Atlanta Braves. They need him to do it again right now. Swung on and missed. 1 ball and 1 strike. Alfonzo this year with 105 RBIs. Met fans have had the luxury of watching him evolve into a star in the major leagues. Cordova with that slider, and Alfonso swinging right over the top. So the Mets got their leadoff man out here in the bottom of the 5th. He's still on second base, Rey Ordonez.
And the breaking ball just off the plate.
Out in front. Lunging. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Alfonzo.
They came back with a fastball there, and they almost sailed back on the plate. Might have been high.
Think that's high?
Nope, wasn't high.
Plus, it got the good part of the plate. So we'll see if it comes with luck. Yeah, you know what? The home plate umpire, Jeff Nelson, going at it with Pete Vukovich. Vukovich doesn't realize how good a pitch it was. He doesn't have the view we have.
Jeff Nelson, the home plate umpire.
And a 2-2 pitch. Outside, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, you can't look for a fastball here because Cordova throws a curveball, whatever the count. So you really have to be a defensive hitter in this spot. Got to look for any pitch.
Popped up. Playable. Ramirez, the third baseman, under it and makes the grab. So the Mets strand Ordonez on second base. They fail to score. We've played 5 here at Shea, and there's no score. The Mets and the game. Kiner's corner. Geico Mets on deck prior to the game. 1 p.m. start. It's supposed to be great weather here at Shea Stadium, so come on out. Mets and the Pirates, final game of the regular season, 1999. Francisco Cordova leading off for the Buccos here in the top of the 6th. 0-1 on the Pirate pitcher. 0-2. Mike Piazza flashing signs to Rick Reed. Will they hook him? Oh, they throw a heater and they get him. Cordova going all the way down the line with Reed. 1 down.
Left fielder, Al Martin.
Quiet here at Shea Stadium. Big crowd on hand for the second last game of the '99 campaign.
1962, the Mets lost their first 9 ball games, and they were 9.5 games back after 9 games to the Pittsburgh Pirates, who won their first 10. Mets opened up in 1962 with the St. Louis Cardinals. Their first game ever played.
0-1 on Al Martin, who just took a hook for a strike. There's a hook outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Will Al Martin be with the Pirates next year? When the season started this year, he was headed for the Diamondbacks. Bernard Gilkey was supposed to be a Bucko, but Gilkey's gotten away with that deal. Martin, 31 years old. Throws the bat out there and flips that ball in the shallow left field. Right! They pay to see him play defense, and he performs.
That was a great play because that ball was not going to be caught by Henderson. And he went a long way to make that play.
So 2 men are out. The batter now, Abraham Nunez. Take another look at Ordonez leaving the ground and making the grab.
Big play right there. Would have been at least a 2-base hit.
Nunez with 2 hits in his game takes a curveball for a strike.
He has the only 2 hits by the Pirates, a double and a single.
Down low, 1-1. Pirates have 2 hits in this game off Rick Reed. The Mets have 3 off Francisco Cordova. You know, last week, Bobby Valentine, Joe Torre taped a commercial. I think the first time a Yankee and a Met manager ever taped a commercial together. And I had the opportunity to talk to Bobby that night. Bobby was talking about not only the Braves series, but the Pirates series. And he was lamenting the fact we're going to face good pitching. And boy, has he been on the money even against the Pirates. There's the 1-2 pitch. Strike three. So Rick Reed and Francisco Cordova going pitch by pitch. We have a scoreless ball game after 5 1/2. The Pirates and the Mets.
Or dream of being a big leaguer. Imagine taking the field in Port St. Lucie, Florida next January in your own authentic Mets uniform, next to players like Al Jackson, Ed Charles, Jerry Grody, and Cookie Rojas. If you've ever thought about being a Mets Dream Weeker, here's your chance. Call 800-888-4376 to learn more about Mets Dream Week. 800-888-4376.
Grace McLean from New Jersey is today's lucky fan. That means if the Mets hit a home run this inning, Grace wins a dinner for two at Minnesota's restaurant. West Beach Street, Long Beach, New York. That's 959 West Beach Street. Grace, good luck. Mets are pulling for you. Met fans are pulling for you. John Olerud's the batter. Mets need a run. Olerud takes down low. Ball one. 1-0 on Olerud, who's 0 for 2 in his ball game. He'll be followed by Piazza and then Ventura. Down low. 2 balls and no strikes.
One of the things about John Olerud is that he makes you throw the ball to him. He doesn't chase many bad pitches in the whole season.
Down and in, 3 balls and no strikes.
It's amazing how batters will hurt themselves by chasing pitches out of the strike zone when the count is 0-0, 0-1.
There's a strike, 3 balls and 1 strike on John Olerud. Pitch fouled back, so it's 3-2.
Cordova would he challenge John Olerud with that fastball there on the 3-1 count.
Ball 4. Mets have a base runner. Another leadoff man on first. And it's time now for our chief game summary. It's been all pitching, Ralph.
And the game summary reads 6 innings, only 2 hits allowed, 9 strikeouts, 1 short of his career high. Cordova, fine job there, only 3 hits in 5 innings, but walked a total of 3, struck out 5. 2 for 3. Nunez of all the hits for the Pirates. Neither team with a base hit with runners in scoring position.
Well, Mike Piazza, one other time in his career, hit 40 home runs. He's got 39. He takes a strike. Cordova now with 95 pitches, 55 strikes. This is the part of the lineup the Mets want at the plate. Run producers. Piazza fouling the ball back. Last night, Ralph, Piazza hit a home run. Another time up. It's amazing that what he can do with one hand. As you look at his top RBI seasons, some good numbers. 124 back in '97. 122 RBIs right now. Batting .307. Outside. Last night he took a swing, he was off balance, and he one-handed the ball to the warning track. Not many players can do that.
He is so strong, and of course, he has that good part of the opposite field.
Usually when you get that one hit off the bat and you're fooled, you pop the ball up. He's been able to drive in runs when he's in a slump and he's lunging. He's still strong enough because of those strong hands to put the ball in play. Outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Cordova has really worked him outside in all 3 of his appearances at the plate. He's flied out twice to right field.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Piazza against Cordova. Broken back, grounded to third base. They and thrown to right field. A huge break for the Mets. Ramirez throwing the ball to the second baseman, Warren Morris, and he throws it away. It was at least a force play.
He had to be distracted by the head of the bat flying right by him. And he made the mistake of trying to get 2, and he forced the throw. And made a very bad throw.
Cordova jumping up in the air like he was going to catch it. Scored an error on Ramirez. Sometimes when you catch a ball and you're so close to the base, you tend to relax your hand and your wrist and you take a little bit off the ball and you don't have good control of that ball. So the Mets now have runners on first and second. Robin Ventura steps in, takes outside, ball 1. The runners on the bases, Piazza on first, Olerud on second. No speed on the bases, and Robin Ventura really with no speed at the plate. Fans want the bomb. Down low, kicked around by Keith Osick. It's now 2-0 on Robin Ventura, who's 1 for 2. He singled in this game. Hit a home run in last night's ball game. Got the game-winning hit in last night's game. Second, Piazza on first. The 2-0 pitch. There's a ground, deep right field. 1 hop against the wall, a ground rule double. So Olerud scores. Piazza to third, and Robin Ventura comes through again tonight.
Now Ventura working on that bad knee. Really comes through with a big base hit here. He limped into second base. But he is really a gamer. Right here, a 2-0 pitch, a fastball right in his wheelhouse, and he lined it in the right field. So the Mets are taking the lead, 1-0. They still have runners in scoring position, no one out, and the batter will be Darrell Hamilton.
Hamilton 0 for 1. He's also walked. Infield in. Hamilton takes down low, ball 1. Infield playing halfway or a quarter of the way on the right side, in on the left side. Nobody out. Runners on second and third. Hamilton against Cordova. A lot of fans here at Shea are on their feet. Outside, 2-0. Osick going to the mound to talk to Cordova. That lady is stuck in the elevator. Got to keep her there.
Well, first base is open here. He doesn't have to give in to Hamilton. On deck is Cedeno. And Pete Berkovich has made a lot of trips to the mound in these first 2 games.
Cedeno on deck. Runners on second and third. Hamilton with a 2-0 count. The fans on their feet. Hamilton takes a strike. The chant of Darryl, similar to the days of Darryl Strawberry here at Shea Stadium. Fans anxiously watching Darryl Hamilton. Strike two. Hamilton, a guy who usually puts the ball in play.
Well, right here, it's a demanding thing that he puts the ball in play. The Mets have a runner at third, nobody out, a runner at second base.
Line drive right at Morris.
The ball was not hit hard, but good base running at second base by Ventura, getting back to the bag and not being doubled off.
Right now, the Mets have the Pirates against the ropes.
Well, they pitch to Cedeno here and take a chance. He'll walk him and get to Ray Ordonez.
Get the job done, boys. That's what Bobby Valentine is saying deep down inside. The infield is in. They're going after Cedeno.
I'm really surprised at this.
We got Ordonez on deck, but he does have 60 RBIs to pitch out. Nothing on.
And, of course, the pitcher comes out behind him. No one throwing in the bullpen. And why they're pitching to Cedeno is surprising. Of course, Roger also a very good batter, and they were looking for the squeeze play in the first pitch.
And Cedeno, a .315 hitter with only 36 RBIs. Has not been a big run producer in comparison to Ordonez. Gene Lamont, manager of the Pirates, looking on and giving some signs. Calling the pitch outs with those signs. And the 1-0 pitch. The pitch out. You might as well just walk.
They're trying to think the Mets are going to put the squeeze play on, and they're pitching out. They're going to walk it. So they were not going to pitch. They were trying to decoy the Mets into making a move there.
Not a bad idea.
Good play. Good, not bad at all.
So it's up to the very popular shortstop with the Mets, Ray Ordonez, who's already tonight made a sparkling diving catch. So can he do it with his bat? Ordonez has already put a single on the board tonight. Cedeno walks. And the spotlight focuses now on number 10, Ray Ordonez. The bases are loaded. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Second time that Ray has been up in a similar situation. Bases loaded, one man out. He struck out his first time up. Single to second with nobody on, and now hitting again in a really important spot.
One of the few players that can rock this stadium with his defense. Right now, he'll rock it if he gets a base hit. Mets have failed to score 3 or 4 times with the bases loaded this series. Jam shot. Young makes the play. Throws it away. It's down the left field line. Here comes Piazza. And the Mets catch a huge play.
Wow.
And another error on Kevin Young, who has more errors than any first baseman in the National League. What a break for the Mets. It's now 2-0 New York.
Well, he catches the ball in the air and then throws it away. They had Piazza double off at third base. And the ball gets away, and the Mets get their second run of the ball game.
So an error on Kevin Young and a huge break for the Mets. Rick Reed steps in and fouls it off. So Reed now has a 2-0 lead to work with, but Piazza would have been caught off third base. He comes down the line. Ordonez breaks his bat, tries to get back. Now he's been safe, but the ball's thrown away. And Piazza coming in to score. Oh, and 1 on Rick Reed. there's a strike. 0-2. In this inning, a double. 2 errors in this inning have really helped the Mets. As Rick Reed takes the breaking ball outside, it was a 78-mile-per-hour slider. One ball, 2 strikes. Cordova getting no help from his defense. Way outside. 2-2. Cordova has thrown 29 pitches, counting this next one, this inning. Outside, 3 balls, 2 strikes, and Rick Reed got to throw him a fastball.
Got to throw the ball over the plate, and no action in the bullpen for the Pirates.
Ground ball to third. Ramirez going across the infield, and he gets Reed. But the Mets pick up 2 runs in this inning. 2 very costly errors by the Pirates. Here was the second one. Young throwing the ball away. Piazza scoring. It's 2-0 Mets. And we'll be back. From outside Shea Stadium to inside Shea Stadium. Rick Reed has his K corner. We go to the top of the 7th inning. And for the Pirates, it'll be Brant Brown, Kevin Young, and Warren Morris. 2 runs now for the Mets. And 2 errors for the Pirates last inning. So some breaks going the Mets' way in the bottom of the 6th. Coming back in with the play-by-play, Howie Rose.
All right, Fran, thank you. And as good as Rick Reed has been, he was shortchanged by that K corner. In case you were counting them up, they had 8 up there, but Reed has struck out 9. And that is just 1 less than his career high. Last year, he struck out 10 Tampa Bay Devil Rays here at Shea Stadium. Last night, Kenny Rogers matched his career high. This precinct checks in with the correct number of Ks. These guys are 1 short. Probably only brought 8. Add them up, and you get 8 over there, too. So if they still believe, how come they didn't bring enough Ks? They didn't believe enough. But you can believe that the Mets' luck has changed. All you had to do is take a look at the bottom of the 6th inning to see that. You go back a week to when the Mets were in Philadelphia, and anything that could have gone wrong went wrong. Now things are turning the other way as Brant Brown takes outside from Reed to start the 7th. Brown was caught looking, flied out to left. Will be followed by Kevin Young and Warren Morris. The Mets 2, the Pirates nothing. A win, and they tie the Reds for the wild card. Line foul, nice grab back behind the Met dugout, 1-1. A lot more smiles now than we saw even 24 hours ago here at Shea Stadium. Of course, last night everybody was scoreboard watching, in addition to watching what was happening on the field. The scoreboard watching was taken care of before the first pitch tonight. That happened earlier this afternoon.
Milwaukee jumping out and winning that ball game over the Cincinnati Reds.
Brant Brown pulls it foul, 2-2.
So now it's up to Rick Reed to hold these Pirates. He's been pitching a whale of a ball game. He's thrown 85 pitches so far. Ricky Henderson.
I think it looks like he's calling signs from the flash of the signs. The way Reed's pitched, you can basically play left field in that position. See? No need for Henderson there. Fastball gets by Brown. Strikeout number 10, tying the career high of Rick Reed.
A huge game for Rick Reed, pitching against a team that gave up on him. Pittsburgh Pirates. He ran that ball away from Brown, started it inside, came back over the inside part of the plate, and another. They found the K.
Nothing in 1 now to Kevin Young.
Last inning, if you just tuned in, 2 throwing errors allowed the Mets to pick up 2 runs. Kevin Young, who leads all first basemen in the National League in errors, picked up another one.
You know, upon second review, I'm not so sure that should have been his error. On the outside corner, looked like Aramis Ramirez had a great chance to make that play.
Well, Ramirez made a throwing error to get things going for the Mets.
I thought Ramirez should have been given the error rather than Young. Mets will take it either way. And Reed looking for a career high in strikeouts. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Young. Tom Seaver always talks about how a pitcher has to know before a game, looking at the lineup, who can beat me? Who among the hitters in the opposition's lineup is going to beat me? Kevin Young is one of them, which is why it made keeping Brant Brown off base so important.
Kevin Young is the one guy he's got to be concerned about this game.
And there's a career high, 11 strikeouts for Rick Reed.
Well, we'll see if Kevin Young gets tossed out of this ball game, because he's the one guy who can go deep on Rick Reed or anybody else and do some damage. While he walks away from the home plate umpire, Jeff Nelson. Kevin Young having a big year with that bat. Has a lot of power. We'll take a look at that last pitch. And Kevin Young, who steps in toward the plate, and Reed with a nasty fastball. It looked like it got the inside corner, did it, and it just kept running in after it hit the corner. So a huge strikeout to get Kevin Young here in the 7th.
Curveball, Morris, 0-1.
Remember, Rick Reed struggling as a member of the Pittsburgh Pirate team. He's now pitching one of his best games against them. Kevin Young looking out at Rick Reed. It was a pretty good pitch.
Another curveball hits the outside corner. And that'll get the fans up on their feet again as Reed looks to strike out the side. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Slowly hit. Alfonso's there. 12 in a row retired by Reed. He gets the Pirates in order in the 7th. And they'll stretch at Shea, but then again, they've been on their feet most of the night. Magnificent tonight. Through 7 innings, he has a career high in strikeouts with 11.
Talking about the curveball right there. He's had a great curveball tonight. And I'll tell you one thing, Kenny Rogers had a great one last night, but tonight, Rick Reed mixing into that fastball. He's had a good fastball where he can throw it by the hitters, and Mike Piazza calling a nice ball game, similar to last night's game, and a new pitcher for the Pirates.
Yeah, Mike Garcia, namesake of the former outstanding pitcher for the Cleveland Indians.
Mike Garcia.
Yeah. One-time teammate of Ralph's when Ralph was finishing up his career in Cleveland.
That great pitching staff: Mike Garcia, Bob Lemon, Burley Wynn, Bob Feller.
But this Mike Garcia picked up his first major league win on Thursday in Milwaukee, and he's pitched very well for them, making 5 straight scoreless appearances out of the bullpen, covering 5 1/3 innings, allowing only 1 hit and striking out 8. Made his major league debut on the 10th of September. After being purchased from their Nashville team, a AAA farm affiliate. Ricky Henderson, Edgardo Alfonso, John Olerud. Garcia misses away with a fastball, 1-0.
On the Budweiser quote book, I can see at least 2 or 3 more good seasons, maybe more. It's no secret I'd like to play until I'm 45.
Ricky 40 now, signed for next season. Inside, 2 balls, no strikes to Henderson.
The only problem he has is he has to be consistent pretty much of the time, because once you have a tremendous lapse in your play, they're going to say about anybody that when you're 40 years old or 41, you're getting old, and that's the reason why you've had the lapse.
Fly ball, well hit center field. Chad Hermanson has room. 1 down here in the 7th. So Garcia gets Henderson. Now he'll go after Edgardo Alfonso, who's 1 out of 3. Garcia spent some time this year at Mexico City. He was sent there in June. He wound up picking up the save in the final game of the Mexican League Championship. On the outside corner to Alfonso, 0-1. Fonzie 1 out of 3, a single in the 3rd inning. The hits have been scarce tonight. The Mets have out-hit the Pirates 4-2. Fouled off into the Met dugout. Abraham Nunez has the only hits for the Pirates, and on the New York Life in-game box, a little more hitting for the Mets, but not much.
2 for 3 for Robin Ventura. Another big blow in tonight's game for the Met third baseman.
Mets were helped by 2 Pirate errors in the last of the 6th inning. And the 0-2 to Alfonso. Fastball away. Still 1-2 to Alfonso. So think about what happens now. If the Mets hold on and win this game, they'll come to the park tomorrow tied with Cincinnati for the wild card and a game behind Houston. So then, of course, the Mets would try to take care of their own business, see what Cincinnati does. If the Reds were to win, the Astros were to lose, and the Mets were to win, you'd have the 3-way tie that would guarantee the Mets a playoff spot. Bobby Valentine was asked before the game, you think it's fair that you can be part of a 3-way tie and automatically be given a playoff spot because the Reds and Astros would have to play off for the division title? And Bobby said, well, yeah. He said you play a 162-game season to win divisions. And a division playoff game is counted in the regular season standings. So that's why if the Reds and Astros were to play off, the losing team would finish 1/2 game behind the Mets.
And take a look at the standings. Cincinnati behind Houston by 1 game, and the Mets trailing Cincinnati by a 1/2 game. If they win tonight, dead heat in the wild card goes to tomorrow afternoon.
Fouled away again. I don't really think it's a fair system for 3 teams to tie and 1 team to automatically get a playoff spot. The problem, though, for baseball, when you consider how far the postseason stretches now, particularly with this 3rd round, the division series, which came into play a couple of years ago, is that you can't start playing into mid-November.
But there's no excuse for that. It's got to be fair for everybody.
And the 2-2 to Alfonso, fouled back this way. I agree, it's not fair.
There's no excuse for it. It's just that they made that decision, and it's unfair.
What baseball is saying is, well, now if you have a round robin, it's going to take a couple of more days to settle it, and everybody else gets backed up.
Still got to do it. 1 team goes in, and the other 2 teams play to get in.
Alfonso keeps fouling it back.
I think they'll rectify that.
Well, baseball had a warning that this might happen as far back as '95, the first year the system was in effect, when the Yankees, the Angels, and the Mariners went down to the very end, all with the potential for being involved in a 3-way tie. So you wonder if it didn't scare baseball away then, would this do any more? But I agree with you. They've got to find a way around that system. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
You think about being on a club like Houston and Cincinnati. They got to play for survival, and the Mets would be sitting home watching the game. They're in.
Upstairs, ball 4. That's an outstanding at-bat by Edgardo Alfonso. Several foul balls prolonged the time at bat, and Garcia finally walks it.
Well, Kathy and Rob Tamburo had a baby boy today, Howie, at 3:30 p.m.
Rob's one of our cameramen here at Shea Stadium. Kathy and Rob.
Everyone's fine. And by the way, Rob, call time tomorrow is 9 a.m.
I don't get something, though. The baby will be named later. Now, was this a surprise to them after 9 months? Anyway, they'll have all that straightened out tomorrow. Right now, John Olerud walked and scored in the 6th inning. He ended up going to second on the Aramis Ramirez throwing error. Came around to score on the double by Ventura. Alfonso at first with 1 man out. Time call. As Garcia made his throw to first, the arms of Jeff Nelson, the home plate umpire, already in the air.
ball game has been the errors. 2 errors committed by the Pirates, and boy, oh boy, they've been devastating to the Pirates and to the Cincinnati Reds.
Knew that little O was in there somewhere, that last one. And the 1-0 to Olerud, taken for a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pirates will throw their one-time #1 overall draft pick Chris Benson tomorrow. Oral Hershiser scheduled to start for New York. Remember, Hershiser was throwing in the bullpen and prepared to pitch at last night's game, gone to the 12th inning. Alfonso Bluffs doesn't go, and Garcia slips it over. 1 ball, 2 strikes. A lot of options for Bobby Valentine tomorrow. Should Hershiser pitch well, that certainly would take care of everything. And then you have Al Leiter ready to pitch on Monday if you need a Monday game.
And right now, Bobby Valentine has an option of putting Alfonso in motion with Olerud hitting. I know they tell you if it's a left-handed hitter, keep the hole open between first and second by holding the runner. But Olerud uses the whole field.
2-2. One more thing about Hershiser. Last night, Bobby Valentine had a talk with him after the game in Bobby's office. With the door open, Oral came out. You can see him say to Bobby, hey, whatever you want. Whatever you want to do, however you want to work it, it's fine with me. So Bobby might have been having some thoughts about going to Leiter on 3 days rest.
Well,
but as of now, he says it's Hershiser.
Yeah, I told you how he had the opportunity last Sunday when they were taping a commercial for Continental Airlines, one of our sponsors, that Bobby said, and he kind of surprised me. He said, you know, Al Leiter will pitch Sunday. And then at the time, I thought maybe he forgot that he was pitching on Wednesday. Maybe he thought he was pitching Tuesday, but he has that on his mind.
Low, 3-2. Again, Alfonso bluffed at first. You'd certainly expect Alfonso to be going here with 3 balls, 2 strikes, and 1 out. Piazza on deck. Figure that Fonzie will run, try and stay out of the double play with Olerud's propensity this year for hitting into ground ball double plays. And open up a hole for John as well. Alfonso measuring the lead. 1 out in the 7th, 2-0 New York. There goes Fonzie. Ball 4. Play at second is irrelevant. So Garcia's walked 2 in a row, and Mike Piazza will hit.
Well, Garcia pitching himself into a hole now has to throw a strike to one of the most powerful hitters in the game today, Mike Piazza. 39 home runs coming into tonight's action.
So Piazza hit it in the air twice and then reached on the throwing error by Aramis Ramirez. Alfonso leads from second, Olerud from first. Fouled back by Piazza, 0-1. Speed not a factor here. Alfonso with a little bit. And Olerud with none. The Pirates playing deep in the outfield against Mike. And back on the infield, hoping to get him to hit the ball on the ground. No balls, 1 strike, 1 out. Garcia deals. Hit in the air, deep left field. Martin to the warning track at the wall, and he makes the catch. And the runners retreat. Alfonso back to second, and Olerud back to first.
Here comes Gene Lamont out of the dugout in a hurry. Mike Piazza, fooled, was able to hit the ball, but again, it looked like he hit that ball one hand, and Martin got back. He's about 6'3" tall, was able to jump up and make the catch. But Piazza fooled, and hitting the ball a long way, similar to last night, but just not long enough, and he knew it. Martin getting back on the warning track and jumping up in the air. I'll tell you what, ball would have hit off the blue padding there if he doesn't make the catch.
So time for a left-hander now for Gene Lamont. It's Jimmy Anderson who answers this on-the-point call to the bullpen with the Mets leading 2-0.
Ventura now here at Shea Stadium. Runners on first and second and 2 men out. He did it before.
The rejuvenated Ventura, 2 for 3, including a run-scoring double. And the left-hander Jimmy Anderson throws inside for ball 1. Anderson, 23 years old. Pirates took him in the 9th round of the 1994 draft. A Virginian, born in Portsmouth, now lives in Chesapeake. And the 1-0. 1 ball, 1 strike. He had that little herky-jerky delivery move like Alan Watson had.
Yeah, a little hesitation. They're tough on left-handers. Right-handers makes no difference. Alan Watson had that move. Pete Harnish from the right side had the same move.
It'll be a 1-1 to Ventura. Breaking ball away, 2-1.
Very methodical delivery. It's almost like they get up there and pause for a moment just to get everything set to go to the plate.
Anderson, another rookie. A Pirate team that probably, along with the Marlins, brought more people up to the major leagues straight from AA over the last few years than any.
Because they couldn't afford the higher-priced players.
Well, they got to get together on their sides.
What a great opportunity for young players to be signed with the Marlins or the Pirates. Well, Robin Ventura with a big double in this game, and last night he had a game-winning hit and a home run. But we go back to the 6th inning, and Robin Ventura, Francisco Cordova hit the ball hard off the wall. One hopped off the wall in right field, and once again Ventura coming through.
Robin now has the average back over 300. It's at 302, and he's got 119 RBIs. 3 behind Piazza for the team lead and record, in fact. Breaking ball low. 3 balls, 1 strike. And the left-hand hitter Darrell Hamilton follows Ventura. But Jimmy Anderson throwing mostly breaking balls here to Ventura behind 3-1 as Hamilton loosens up. Outfield playing Ventura to pull. And the 3-1 from Anderson. Well, gets to the backstop, won't matter because it's ball 4 and the bases are loaded. So the Pirate relievers helping the Mets here in the 7th. Garcia walked Alfonso and Olerud. And now Anderson walks the first man he faces, Robin Ventura. That loads him up for Hamilton.
Well, a coaching staff with the Pirates has to be more patient and more of a teaching staff than a lot of coaching staffs. You got a lot of young players, and boy, it's testing Pete Vukovic's patience right now.
Hamilton 0 for 2 with a walk. Bases are loaded with 2 outs. Low, ball 1. Mets getting their first look at Jimmy Anderson as the tension continues. The 1-0. Foul straight back. A few fastballs Anderson has thrown here.
Well, you know, usually when they bring that left-hander in, besides the fastball, if you have a good breaking ball, and you're coming in to pitch to a left-hander, you would rely a lot on your breaking ball. He's having trouble throwing that breaking ball in the strike zone.
Down and away, 2-1. Hamilton in a great spot here with Alfonso at 3rd, Olerud at 2nd, Ventura the base runner at 1st, 2 out. Anderson behind in the count, 2-1. Didn't mean to swing, and it probably was going to be ball 3. Pitch was moving out of the strike zone. So the count even now, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And August 1st was the date that Darrell Hamilton joined the ball club. Alfonso darting a few steps down the line from 3rd. Slowly hit. Morris has it. And the Mets leave the bases loaded in the 7th. The Pirates walk them loaded. Anderson finally gets out of it. And so at the end of 7 here at Shea, 2-0, New York. Go to the 8th inning. Show up at Shea tomorrow for Fan Appreciation Day. All fans will get a commemorative mini bat and a team photo poster. Plus, one lucky fan will win a Dodge Neon car. No purchase necessary either. Good seats are still available. The Mets ticket office opens at 9 a.m. for phone orders at 718-507-TIXX. And the day of game ticket windows at Shea Stadium open at 11:10 a.m. So come on out and enjoy the last game of the regular season. Aramis Ramirez, Chad Hermanson, and Keith Osick for the Pirates in the 8th. And the first pitch hit deep to left field. It's hooking foul, though. And out of play, even though Ramirez gave it a pretty good ride. So Ramirez out in front of that curveball from Reed, 0-1.
So you tell Rick Reed get ahead, try to get ahead. Ramirez gave him a scare. You could see Reed exhale after that ball went foul.
Bouncing ball foul, 0-2. A lot of that exhaling stuff going on around here the last week.
This has been an emotional escalator for Met fans.
And for Rick Reed, it's been going one way tonight, straight up. He's allowed just 2 hits, both of them to Abraham Nunez. Nobody else has gotten on. Ordonez, 1 away.
Talk about his great fielding percentage. We talked about it before. Usually goes to a guy who's steady, but not a whole lot of range. Never in danger, but this guy likes that danger zone. Look at the way he's throwing that ball. Completely off balance and throws a strike. When he first came up, he made a lot of errors on throws. Cookie Rojas talked to him about not throwing everything as hard as you can. He has a real good arm when he wants to let it fly.
1-0 now to Chad Hermanson, who's been struck out twice by Reed. Reed with a career high 11 strikeouts tonight. He has struck out a batter in every inning with the exception of the 4th, not counting this one. And he won't get one here, but Olerud should handle it easily. 2 away. Fox Sports News comes your way later tonight on Fox Sports Net, delivering the latest from the national sports scene with a full recap of Major League Baseball and much more. Get it all on Fox Sports News coming up tonight after Pac-10 college football here on Fox Sports Net. So Reed continues to set down the Pirates. 14 in a row now for Rick. Keith Osick struck out, popped up. 2 gone. Nobody on in the 8th inning, and there's that crackling curveball again. 0-1. Fastball misses.
Well, he's had an excellent curveball tonight.
Do you remember him being behind more than a couple of hitters all night?
And a good fastball, really an overpowering fastball tonight. He's thrown 100 pitches, 71 of them for strikes.
Popped up. That ought to end the inning. Another easy play for Olerud. And so far, Rick Reed has been absolutely superb. He had a little help from Ordonez here in the 8th. For him, routine. Well, Gene Lamont making a couple of changes as we go to the last of the 8th inning here. He finds his team behind 2-0, and he's really put himself behind as much as anything. At least his fielders have, because the Pirates really threw it around in the 6th inning.
And Ramirez, third baseman. This is going to be an easy force at second base. Ramirez with that relaxed wrist. Look at the flip. He flips it into right field. And then later on in the inning, Ordonez gets jammed. A soft line drive to Kevin Young, who throws the ball down the left field line. Young gets stuck with the error. Ramirez took his eye off the ball.
Absolutely. Cedeno pulls the bat back and takes a strike from Mike Williams, the 4th Pirate pitcher. 0-1. Ramirez in on the grass at third against Cedeno's bunting potential. But now it's 0-2. Williams 23 saves this year for the Pirates. He is the staff leader in that department, their closer. who's just getting some work here. Last pitch to the Milwaukee series 3 days ago. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Just the sound of the words Milwaukee Brewers are probably very appealing to Mets fans right now because of all the good that they've done for the Mets playoff hopes over the last day and a half. Milwaukee beating the Reds twice, last night and this afternoon. And the 1-2 to Cedeno. Up the middle, base hit for Roger Cedeno. The 5th hit for the Mets tonight. And they'll look to pad this lead here in the 8th. The leadoff man is on.
So the Mets did it tonight with a little luck. Here's that base hit. Right back up the middle. Right back up the middle. Base hit by Roger Cedeno. As I mentioned, the Mets have had a little luck. We have a pulse. They certainly do. They have a 2-0 lead. And a runner on first base who's got to get into scoring position. He's got to steal the base.
The Pirates have Ramirez in very tight at third. Rick Reed is on deck, although there is action in the... Cedeno running base hit for Ordonez. Martin trying to cut it off. He holds on to the ball before finally firing it in, and it's a double for Ordonez. Martin's momentum forced him to turn all the way around before playing the ball back to the infield, and the Mets have runners at second and third with nobody out.
Well, Ray Ordonez coming through. Again, there's a fastball out over the plate. The hit and run was on. That's a hit and run swing. And he pulled the ball. He just flicked his wrist and turned him over, hit the ball hard in the left field. That's a Tommy Hawk shot if I've ever seen one. Casey Stengel called it Butcher Boy. You see Cedeno. Now, when he looks back, it's the hit and run. And Ordonez banging that ball in the left field. Runners on first and second. And Casey said, it amazing. Well, Rick Reed, a standing ovation. Boy, does he deserve it. He's pitched a whale of a ball game. He gets a hit here, this place is going to erupt.
Pirates play the infield in. Swing and a miss, 0-1.
Well, Bobby Valentine gave him his break. He brought him back to the big leagues, and he's delivered for Bobby Valentine, as you see the infield in.
Also might have caught Matt Franco on deck. Melvin Mora due to hit next. This may be a decoy. Pirates do have the right-hander Williams on the mound. Might have something to do with whether or not Reed comes through here. The 0-1 pitch inside for a ball. Now, last night, remember Melvin Mora hit in a position to potentially win the game and grounded out to end the inning. And Bobby Valentine actually second-guessed himself on allowing Mora to hit. Well, he's got Franco on deck here. If Reed is not able to get either of these runners home, he may well throw Franco in there as a potential pinch hitter to try and get these 2 runs home and get the 4-run lead. And give up Mora's defense. Base hit left field. In comes Cedeno. In comes Ordonez. 4-0, New York.
Has pitched a masterpiece. He has added to the cushion. A base hit, a line drive in a left field. Reed doing it against his old ball club and driving in 2 huge runs. Reed
at first, nobody out. Matt Franco will get the at-bat here. No balls, 1 strike. Matt hitting for Melvin Mora. So Mora was out there for defense. Bobby was in a position where he was apparently going to hit for him either way. And the 0-1 taken low. So the Mets with a 4-run lead. If they hold on, they will have popped right back into a tie for the wild card spot 48 hours after people left this building, assuming this weekend was going to be largely ceremonial. 2 balls, 1 strike to Matt Franco. The Mets hold on here. They'll go first tomorrow as opposed to today when the Reds played well before the Mets took the field. Mets are going to start about an hour and a half, I believe, before the Reds and the Brewers tomorrow afternoon. Soft line drive, it'll go foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And the Mets can go out tomorrow at 1:35, actually 1:40. Try and make an early statement and put some more heat on the Reds, who will have Pete Harnisch pitching tomorrow against Milwaukee.
It's funny, today you were hoping they would play earlier, and they did. Tomorrow you want the Mets to play earlier, win the ball game, put the heat on the Reds.
Two to Franklin. Nice stop by Osi. One thing that now cannot happen is a playoff game here at Shea Stadium on Monday between the Mets and the Astros. Because of the various possibilities, there could be a 3-way tie. We're assuming now the Mets win this game, although the Houston angle coming to Shea was in place once Houston won their game this afternoon. But there could be a 3-way tie, which would be perfect for the Mets because they would get in. If the Mets have a tie with the Reds for the wild card, that game would be played at Synergy Field. Looks like they'll be even with a game to go. Reed running. Franco fouls it back.
Keep in mind, tomorrow afternoon, tickets still available for that ball game. Can't make it out to the park. We'll have it right here on Fox Sports Net and Ralph Kiner's Corner after the game tomorrow.
Yeah, who knows? After all these years, Ralph may find himself getting drenched again.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, tomorrow's going to be a delicious afternoon when you consider the possibility. Certainly one of the most dramatic days in Shea Stadium history looms tomorrow. Can't remember one going down to the last day like this at Shea. Matt Franco fouling it off to the left side. I mean, I think of some close races the Mets have been in. 1973, it was decided in Chicago. In fact, they needed a day after the end of the regular season. Again, this is coming up tomorrow, 1:30 here on Fox Sports Net, the Mets and the Pirates. But you go back in Mets history, you've got the ones in Chicago in 73, and then pennant races in 1985, which were concluded just before the last day of the season. The Mets were eliminated the next to the last day in 85. And they had that great race with the Cardinals. Outside, ball 4 to Matt Franco, first and second, with nobody out. And then 1987, they were done and eliminated on the road. So, you know, just trying to think of other pennant races that might have come down to the last day of the season. Well, all of the possibilities for tomorrow here at Shea, I can't recall one.
You know, it's amazing. I was thinking about this the other day. Even though it's for the wild card, I mean, it's turned into just a very exciting finish. I know the Mets and the Mets fans would prefer to win the Eastern Division as you look at Jay Payton, run away with the division or run away with the wild card, but great for baseball. And there's how he's put it in the books.
3 more outs, pal. Alfonso bunts through it, 0-1, and Reed has to scamper back to second base. And it could be kind of almost a surreal sight here tomorrow. I mean, if the Mets win the game, or whatever the Mets do, I mean, if they start tomorrow tied, after the Mets are done, who's going to want to leave here? Just watch the scoreboard and see if they keep changing it, updating it, right until things are over. Bouncing ball foul, 0-2.
You know, it's funny, you've heard about it in the past where teams would sit in the clubhouse and wait to see the ball game end, that they are keenly aware that it's going to dictate their fate. They would sit there. Who knows, tomorrow people might sit here at Shea Stadium watching the scoreboard. They get the Diamond Vision board here.
Yeah, that's possible.
Pop that game up there.
If they're so inclined, yeah. I don't know. We don't know that the Mets are going to do that. I mean, it's possible, but we don't know. We have not had any word as to whether or not that might happen, but it's going to be an interesting afternoon tomorrow, to say the least. 0-2 on the way. Up the middle. Nunez steps and throws a double play. Peyton really upended Abraham Nunez, and Nunez looks like he's hurt. Peyton went in hard.
Well, he really hammered him. One thing you don't see is that real hard take-up. He knocked the wind out of him. Here's Nunez going to second base to make that throw. Oh, Peyton went in, I guess, with the body block and took him out. But Nunez is all right, but Peyton hammered him at second base.
So 2 out now. Reed advances to third. Peyton showing a little of that Georgia Tech football mentality.
He's very strong and very fast. Nunez seems to be all right.
So John Olerud the batter. 0 for 2 with 2 walks. 0-1. You ever get into one of those situations, Fran, where your regular season ended and you were still in the race pending the outcome of the last game? And did you ever sit around and watch any of those in the clubhouse?
When I was at the Giants, we won our division the last series. We beat the Dodgers out by 1 ball game. Juan Marichal getting the victory, but never had to sit around and wait.
Major League Baseball has a great video out. It's about 10 years old, called Baseball's Greatest Pennant Races. And they have some great footage in there of the Boston Red Sox after defeating, Minnesota, the last day of the '67 season. Yeah,
I remember that.
They show you the players watching on television as the Tigers were beaten by who? The Angels, right? I think the Angels knocked off the Tigers. Olerud pulls it into right field for a base hit. In comes Reed. 5-0, New York.
So Reed pitching a masterpiece, driving in 2 runs and scoring a run. He's done it all tonight for the guy who gave him his break, Bobby Valentine. The guy who believed in him when nobody else believed in him.
Perhaps the best game Rick Reed has ever pitched in the major leagues. Only 2 base runners through 8 innings. Both hits by Abraham Nunez, a career-high 11 strikeouts, and factor in the urgency of the matter. And he has a 5-0 lead in his hip pocket. Mike Piazza will hit with Olerud at first. Olerud just picked up his 96th run batted in. So the penultimate game of the year about to produce, at least in transition, the ultimate result. A final day decision. And that's 2 years in a row now. The Mets have played right to the final game of the season, with every game being meaningful.
Hitting home run number 40. He's done it for the 2nd time in his career. And he still has 1 game left to tie Todd Hundley for the most home runs in a season by a catcher at 41.
0-1 to Ventura. Folks, all I can tell you is if you don't have your tickets yet for tomorrow, get on the phone early and get out here early.
Vintage Piazza. You might see this tomorrow. Going the other way. Number 40 for the big catcher. And Piazza can touch them all. Well, a lot of things could transpire here tomorrow. You could see Piazza tie that record that Todd Hundley set just a few years ago.
1996. I think the only thing the Mets want to see transpire tomorrow is a Met win, because that would guarantee them of nothing worse than a one-game playoff in Cincinnati on Monday. And if the Brewers were to cooperate again, the Mets, who were left for dead by so many just 48 hours ago, would be making plans to head to Phoenix. One thing we know now, assuming the Pirates don't stage a monumental comeback in the 9th inning, Mets are coming here with their bags packed tomorrow.
It certainly is going to be quite a day here at Shea Stadium.
And again,
the Mets have to be here ready to fly someplace.
And again, as we set up the final day of the season here at Shea, I cannot ever remember one like it in the history of this ballpark going back to 1964. Final day, Mets at home. Postseason possibilities squarely to be determined based on that final game. 1-2 to Ventura. Downstairs.
Well, Mike Piazza is going to own this list someday. He's there twice with 40 home runs. Campanella did it. Todd Hundley 41. Johnny Bench 38. Not all as a catcher with 45, but tomorrow the Mets got to win that ball game, and Piazza might go deep and tie that record set by Todd Hundley.
Piazza tying his career high in RBIs too. Outside, full count. 2 RBIs giving Mike 124. 40 homers, 124 RBIs. And don't forget, he missed 2 weeks.
And it took him another 2 weeks to get ready again.
3-2 to Ventura. Swing and a miss. The side retired. The Mets sent 8 men to the plate, and they busted this baby wide open. This is number 40. And it's party time at Shea. Inning here at Shea Stadium, a night when the Mets needed to win to tie for the wild card, and Rick Reed pretty much decided nobody was going to beat him tonight. In fact, almost nobody has hit him. Ray Ordonez helped see to that with another raid play, and Robin Ventura continued his renaissance, driving home the first run of the night. The Pirates threw it around a little bit, helping the Mets early on. And while Piazza's legs helped produce a run before it was over, not only the bat of Rick Reed, of all people, would help pad the lead, but the bat of Piazza as well would bust it open. This is our Tri-State Consumer Auto Insurance Game Summary.
It was Rick Reed night here at Shea Stadium. Boy, did he step up and get the job done. The Mets got production from Reed, Ventura, and Piazza. And Paul McCartney's with a little luck. They had some luck, a couple errors, but 7-zip.
See, there's a reason he brings up Paul McCartney. Kevin McCarthy, who runs Shea Stadium, Fran and I were talking before the game about Paul McCartney's new album. We asked Fran something as Adrian Brown takes a strike. We challenged Fran. We said, name one Paul McCartney solo recording. One song he did since the Beatles broke up. Fran was absolutely speechless.
No. One of my favorite artists, one of the greatest songwriters in the history of the world.
Breaking ball to Brown up the middle into center field. Only the 3rd hit for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Adrian Brown, who would come on to play center field as part of the double switch when Mike Williams came into the game to pitch the 8th inning, comes up with a leadoff single here in the 9th.
So Rick Reed, who has just shut down the Buccos, allowing only 2 hits through 8 innings, and the bullpen was resting comfortably. Now we see a little action, some moving around down there.
The fact that Rick Reed has pitched as deep into this game as he has, with Dennis Cook getting ready now, is a godsend to Bobby Valentine. A godsend because tomorrow you have Oral Hershiser and staff available. Remember, Armando Benitez had pitched 2 innings on Thursday night. He pitched an inning last night. John Franco, worked each of the last 2 nights. So Hershiser's going to get the ball at the start. If he falters early, and we found out about that just a few nights ago, quick hook. And then you go to your long men, but the identities of your long men might change tomorrow. Al Leiter, perhaps. Masato Yoshii, perhaps. Tomorrow promises to be one of the most memorable days in the history of this franchise. The 0-2 to Martin inside. That's, of course, regardless of what happens. Love to see you out here at the ballpark. If you can't make it, we certainly hope you'll join us on Fox Sports Net. One and 2 to Martin. Nobody out in the ninth. 7-0 New York. Breaking ball, fouled off again. Boy, Reed and Kenny Rogers last night have featured dazzling curveballs these last 2 games.
Rogers threw more curveballs. We talked about it earlier in the game. He threw more curveballs than fastballs last night, and he had a good fastball. Reed has really mixed it up with, at times, an overpowering fastball earlier tonight and a good hook.
1-2 to Martin. Just off the plate.
You know, it's funny when you're catching a guy like Reed in a game like this, you feel like you're a genius. You know, you call the pitch, you put your glove there, he hits it, and you take the credit.
You must have hung out with too many sycophants in your days. It'll be a 2-2 to Martin. Breaking ball, hard one, Hopper, Ordonez to Alfonso. Back for a double play.
Thought we talked about that exhale. That was a great check. Reed exhaling. Watch how quick Ordonez's glove hand is. Ball's hit hard off the bat of Martin. Right at Ordonez. He gets as low to the ground as you can get. Gloves it, flips to Alfonso. Looked like Alfonso had a little trouble getting this ball out of his glove. It was a good shuffle throw. And the throw back to Olerud and the exhale from Rick Reed.
Well, whatever happens tomorrow, the fans in this ballpark tonight are standing in tribute not only to Rick Reed, but after all that's happened, after the 8 losses in 9 games, these fans are standing partially in tribute to the heart of this ball club, which I think has to be acknowledged now, regardless of what happens tomorrow. And this Pirate Club, just look at its lineup, and obviously it's not the Atlanta Braves. But the fact of the matter is, when the Mets came here last night, everybody who greeted them, and probably some of them silently as well, was starting to think about their winter plans.
That's right. But the Mets came back last night, again tonight.
And now they're a strike away. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Nunez.
And at 1:30 tomorrow, you can get back on the emotional escalator here at Shea Stadium.
It's been 428 days now. You got to go back to August 1st of '98 since Rick Reed's last complete game. And to June 8th of '98, 481 days for his last shutout. It was against the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. Right here, 2-2 to Nunez. Put it in the books. The Mets are tied for the wild card.
And what an operation by Rick Reed. but he helped out offensively with a key hit, driving in 2 runs. What an outing by Rick Reed. He was an operator on the mound. He made great pitches, refined strikes, and this strike is as good as any of them tonight. Rick Reed with another strikeout, and what a ball game for Rick Reed and the Mets. And the wild card standings show Cincinnati and New York tied going into tomorrow's action.
Hold the presses. Get me rewrite. It's come down to the final day, and the New York Mets will be an integral part of it as they have shut out the Pittsburgh Pirates 7-0. Even with 1 to go with the Cincinnati Reds.
And the standings, the wild card standings. When the Mets came here Friday night for the game, nobody would have thought that this baby would have happened. Cincinnati lost 2 in a row. The Mets win 2 in a row. They're tied in the wild card race. Tomorrow, Cincinnati in Milwaukee. The Mets here against the Pirates. The escalator leaves at 1:30.
Well, if you didn't before, you'd have to now. 7-0 Mets on a magnificent performance by Rick Reed. We're coming right back.